go. My car has the NA package. I'm going to call it an OEM Plus enhancement package. This S2000 is a 2004. It's 100% stock except wheels and suspension. We're going to show you a full before and after and details of what this NA package is all about.
All right, we have Jeff's car on the dyno. It's idling, trying to make sure it's up to operating temperature. Alright, so the car is pretty darn consistent. It's 211, basically 150 on every run. Got the car in the shop. I've done a little bit of work off camera here, which is just removing the airbox. I've got the bolts off of the factory header and the heat shields removed, so I'll be ready to go up in the air and take that out. I got the airbox out, so we're going to do a modification to the airbox. And you know, we've done the airbox mod in the past where we just take the divider out, put a K&N filter in it. We're going to take the airbox, we're going to add a little something extra to it now. So here are the parts we're going to add to the airbox. This here is a port that's going to bring air into the airbox. It has an angle on it to point it straight down because the front of the airbox has an angle to it. This is the top half of a scoop that's going to basically connect this to there, and then this goes under the car. Now we put it on this side over here to keep water and debris from getting directly on the filter. All right, so that airbox is now all opened up. I've got that area opened up as well for the scoop. And then I used some nut certs in the plastic there. And we'll Loctite the bolts. They don't need to be tight, they just need to hold it in place. So that will hold it very sufficiently. But that whole area is opened up, so now when you bolt that on there, it's gonna blow air into here. All right, with the car on the lift, you have this plastic piece here. That basically the radiator is here and the subframe is back here. I'm a little too close. So the piece of plastic goes in between the two. You get this large flat area here. We've got our scoop, and we're gonna mark out where it goes about in this area. And we got that. So we gotta take that with the marker and cut it out.
I've tested this intake on my car for a little over a year now, and it's real world testing. I've seen intake temps of 117. I've done 2 back-to-back runs on this road just in case there is a headwind and it's changing. It's dropping already. It's at 111. Right now 104 is what we're looking at. This is at the end of this first run. I'm going to turn around and go the opposite way now. We get a lot of rain in Florida. I always recommend don't drive in standing water, but of course you can't help, you know, the monsoon rains that we get here. I've been testing it, and I periodically open the box just to see what it is drawing in there. And so far, we haven't had any moisture at all. The only thing we get in there is leaves and bugs and debris off the road. But so far, it's been testing out great.
There's the hole we cut in the plastic. Now, if you don't have them and you cut little plastic like this, go to Harbor Freight and get these scissors. They're only $9, and they make pretty short work of any of these thin plastics, and they do a pretty good job at cutting. They leave a pretty decent edge. It doesn't look perfect, but it's a pretty good edge. The outlet of that coming up here to there. So everything's back in, hooked up, just got to put the lid on.
We're building a header to really promote mid-range power, and of course it runs a catalytic converter. We're trying to keep the car clean as well as not produce any smells. We want the car to be OEM plus. OEM cars don't smell like rotten eggs and oil. We have an intake system that's gonna help keep the intake temps cool and prevent heat soak. We'll talk about the package as we go through. Let's just recap that comparison. All right, third gear. Are you ready? All right, go. This would look nice. The problem is when you see this is really offset. It's going to look odd over here. Jeff kind of give us free plays and just build it the way you would build it. I'm thinking when we're done, we're going to send those out and have those ceramic coated. They will be satin. They'll look very much, in fact, they'll look very much like this.
Alright, here's how we're starting out the exhaust on the white NA package. We have a G-Sport Emission Systems catalytic converter. This is a high flow catalytic converter. We've tested this one multiple times. This has plenty of flow to do what we're doing. And we have a flex because we're using a V-band on the end of the header. So there's the cut down muffler. That's as big as we can make it in the space that we have. And the pipe going to the flex, catalytic converter.
We did learn so much by just testing so many headers on the market and playing with headers over the years. It's surprising how much difference the tube diameter, the pairing, and the length change the overall power band. So one thing we have noticed is most of the aftermarket headers are all about the same length. The starting point and end point is the same because they want to make it a direct bolt-on. So there's very little you can gain staying within these sizes. In fact, between all these headers, there was only about 10 horsepower between the best and the worst header. This is the VTEC in the exact same spot, by the way. The blue and the red, these two, exact same spot. That's just showing you how the engine is using that header design and diameter to make power. I mean, that's a big increase in the middle. To understand what these headers do, you'd literally have to test them all and then play around by cutting them, changing the length, changing the pairing, changing the diameter. It goes back to good old experimenting without really expensive equipment. Hundreds of hours of just cutting and changing is often the way it's done. We used our car, which was pretty much a stock S2000. It wasn't a real high horsepower car, so the results were easy to replicate. It's something that's pretty consistent, making the same power, so we could see what the header did.
We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost.
So the amazing thing is these cars are within about 1 horsepower of each other's stock. Mine is a 2008 with 22,000 miles. His is a 05 with about 120. But even the shape of the dyno run looks the same. In the separate header test, I want to kind of show you more of the nerdy stuff behind the scenes, but I'll show you here in a minute just some of the dyno runs that we've had. This is all header tuning. Now, changing the VTEC point will change some of this mid area here, but also by the header length, we can put the VTEC in a different spot. Some of these, when we put the VTEC too early, it would actually lose power. There's some more here I'm going to show you, but this is essentially the area that it made the most power. There's another full file, all on the same header. This is all changing the length of the header in different spots. This is zoomed in on this midsection, obviously. Playing with this is changing VTEC point. You always put your VTEC point, the lowest point, the highest point, and see where the crossover is. But then as we would play with the headers, this area here would change dramatically. Let me show you the best to the worst on this one. This, again, is the same exact header, just playing with tuning on it. Not a whole lot up top, a little bit of gains. But so much through here, we could play with the VTEC point. We put the VTEC too early, it would drop and fall on its face. This is the VTEC in the exact same spot, by the way. The blue and the red, these two, exact same spot. That's just showing you how the engine is using that header design and diameter to make power. To give you an idea, this one did the best mid-range and torque all the way through, but it would do 235 at the top and it would peter out. We changed this design to the one we have now, which we made these 2 inches longer. We basically took this merge a little bit closer, took this distance out here, and about 4 inches shorter here for this merge. This had a lot of effect all the way through the mid-range, like I mentioned earlier. This is the bottom section I'm talking about. You can see where it picked up pretty much everywhere. It mimicked it in every single spot until it came to the VTEC changeover. Now this, the lower section here, did better with a higher VTEC. This is at 52. If we dropped it here where it looks like you're starting to lose power, and often you could put VTEC early and pick that power back up. So it's all finished. The tune header, the airbox with the scoop, and of course the custom exhaust. Let's get this thing on the dyno. Let's show you the results, and then we'll show you the before and after, show you exactly how much this car is making. Then we'll talk to Jeff at the end and see what he thinks about this package. $169, $168, that is pretty much it. It's maxed out, but that's quite a bit from where we started. That's 27 horsepower. That is a good gain, especially today, because it is hot today. But there we go. Much better, more power all the way. And it has this distinctive little hump right here, which is the same as what mine had. I think that is in the header too. So it's a year later, and I just took my car to the Dragon. We did a 2,000-mile road trip, mainly country roads once we got up in the Tennessee area. We just attended the classic Hondas on the Dragon 10. But highway, this package, I was getting around 33. Obviously, plenty of power for the mountains. I'm a big turbo guy. I like 400 horsepower in these cars, but once you get up into the twisty roads, more power than you need. It's not too much power. But I wanted a package for the old motor guys, for the guys that don't want to take the engines apart and do any kind of internals. Just a proper package that's tuned to work with the car. So fast forward, I do have plans to build a 2.4 high compression motor for my car. When I say high compression, around 11.7, 11.8, so it's friendly on pump gas. I want it to be a normal OEM Plus package. Just like I've always said, you go too much any direction, you ruin the car. OEM Plus is essentially the factory system turned up a few clicks. Well, I think this car with, say, 260, 270 to the wheels with a normal sounding exhaust, nothing obnoxious, and just tons and tons of mid-range power, I think is going to make this car absolutely fantastic. So that's going to be coming up. I'll essentially use what we've learned from this package and transfer it over to a 2.4 bottom end. Now, when we say 2.4 bottom end, it is an S2000 engine, just with a 2.4 crank, sleeved, balanced, stronger rods, stronger pistons. So that way, if somebody wants to put a little bit more on top of it, maybe another, 50 to a 75 shot of nitrous, just for that really just hit home hard power, it's going to be happy with that. And again, just for more durability purposes. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you got some ideas from this. This isn't a package we're going to sell online. It's only a package we'll offer as a complete system, because it's the only way it works together. The different differential gearing is optional. It doesn't change the actual horsepower, but gear ratio makes the car accelerate much faster. And like I've shown, it's completely livable on the highway. If you're cruising 75-ish, completely fine. The car is quite happy singing along at about 4,500 RPMs, and you're still gonna get the good gas mileage. So that is option. Like I said, it's more for feel. It rips through the RPMs faster. It doesn't dyno anymore. It's just a gear ratio change. So that's it. I'll list the other 3 videos from the testing on my car. There is part 1, 2, and 3. I'll put those in the description. That way you can check on those. And we'll see you on the next video.